It is said that the pot of greed, which brings happiness to its holder, is not only a treasure long coveted by the dream clown and the swarm of scarabs lurking in the kingdom, but also an essential tool for Dark the Dark Charmer to perform his dark spirit art. Due to the unique design of the pot of greed, it has not only been imprinted on the modified walking lamp made from Dekoichi the battle-chanted locomotive, but it has also been turned into a dice and a counter cleaner for modern humans. Though using it to clean is efficient and convenient, its unique design has led to less than ideal sales for this product. After it matures, the pot of greed evolves into an avatar of the pot with a human-like appearance, and inside the pot lives a spirit capable of controlling human desires. It seems that the sinister serpent has the ability to break the spirit's control over the pot of greed. On the border of the kingdom, there is a goblin who makes a living by stealing pots. He successfully stole a pot from a goods dispatcher shipment. This was a jar of greed, corresponding to the pot of greed, and after it grows, it seems to transform into a jar turtle. As the goblin was on his way to a pawn shop to steal the pot of greed, he accidentally dropped the pot's handle. Unable to pay for the repairs, the angry shop owner hurled the jar of greed at the careless goblin. Back at home, the goblin carefully repaired the broken jar of greed and wrapped up the pot of greed with the missing handle to return it as payment for his debt. However, the owner, who was holding the gust fan, immediately noticed something was off and angrily demanded that the damaged pot of greed be returned. The goblin took the pot of greed to the market and exchanged it for another pot along with 3 gold coins. This was the pot of duality, a combination of the pot of greed and the pot of generosity. Unfortunately, the pot of duality was unpopular in the market, so the goblin pretended that the pot had quality issues and exchanged it for a new one. This new pot was a combination of the pot of greed and the pot of avarice, forming the pot of desires. Eventually, the goblin successfully sold the pot with the help of an advertising slogan. The pot of desires ended up in Progress Potter's hands. The pot of greed, whose handle had fallen off, was tossed into the sea, where it was inhabited by a sea spirit and transformed into the moray of greed. The other pot of avarice, after being inhabited by a sea spirit, transformed into the moray of avarice. One day, the goblin decided to weed the garden himself. In doing so, he startled the sinister serpent in the yard. Fortunately, thanks to the sinister serpent, the goblin was freed from the possession of the greedy spirit and stopped stealing pots from then on. Having earned his first fortune, the goblin decided to play the jackpot 7, hoping to win more gold coins. Just as the machine was about to land on 3 sevens, a massive fortune was within his reach. However, from the broken pot of greed above the machine, it seemed that the goblin's dream would not come true after all. But even the broken pieces of the pot seemed to hold immense magical power. To pay off his gambling debts, the goblin decided to join the street performance with the sinister serpent at the market. At the market, there were also fiend comedian and an avatar of the pot. The goblin also found a job in the factory, assembling moki moki. When the goblin returned to work at the factory at night, he accidentally discovered a brand new pot of greed in a mysterious little black room. Additionally, there was a photo of the graceful charity in the room. The goblin decided to steal the pot and sell it on the black market for cash. He then used this temporary income to visit a real estate agent to buy a house and speculate on land. Meanwhile, Sniffus was asleep in the yard, enjoying what would soon be their new home. Finally, the stolen pot of greed was eventually found in a bus heading to the underworld. Do you know who the fellow travelers that were arrested in the underworld are?